On my other video, I told you guys I was under the weather. So let's go ahead and feed this little dude here. See what we got going on. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Here we go. Uh-oh. Are you hungry? The other one was hungry. Oh, yeah. It's interesting. Oh, okay. There it is. So it's a little slower on the feed. Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can do something here real quick. There we go. Oh, there it is. Look at that.
Shalom. Call Allah Yahawah, Bahashim Yahawashi, Bahashim Ruchahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who all learned this truth from. And peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, starting with the 144,000 of prophets and the rest of the men, women, and children that are listening and learning and are part of the, to be the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Israel. So I just want to play this clip, just as a visual for the wisdom of a serpent. Okay, because Yahawashi told us to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Now, when you would look at when you first see this video, and the mouse, which was dropped into the the cage or whatever, the serpent didn't move. The serpent didn't strike. The serpent, stayed exactly where he was at, watching the conduct and the movement of the mouse, right? The mouse was moving all about, going different places. The mouse even went up, as we seen in the video, went directly up to the serpent, the snake, and, was face to face with the snake. The snake didn't move until the snake decided to strike. All right. And the snake calculated exactly when to have it strike, to know the prime and the optimal, strike, so that with only one blow, he was able to obtain, the mouse. Now, unwise or a fool would think or would suggest that snake was afraid of the mouse, which is why he didn't immediately move, which is why he allowed the mouse to come up to his face and just be in his face and sniff around. All right, that would be an unwise and foolish remark, because everybody knows the dynamic of a snake and a mouse. Everybody knows that a snake would always defeat a mouse. Will always, if they're put in a position like this, the snake is always going to end up eating that mouse. And I use this to say, for an individual, which I've seen the brother Manak Zakba did a lesson on, the individual that, because at first I didn't know who was actually saying it, but this video right here.
All right, Shalom.
For an individual to say that we are, and I say we because I also use E on my titles. I've also used Maxine on my titles. So even though I don't know who I guess he made, it was a broad statement, so therefore it gets a broad response. But for an individual to say that we are afraid to use Esau on a title, that to me I can only conclude that you are a fool for thinking that. Just like only a fool would think that a snake is afraid of a mouse because he doesn't immediately strike it. I've seen, because my brother used to have a snake, I've seen a snake let a mouse actually crawl all over its body before he actually attacked it. And I have video of it on my other phone. But did I for 1 second think that snake was afraid of the mouse? Because he was moving with subtlety? Because he let the mouse, do its thing for a little bit? No, that would be a foolish and unwise thought. Just like thinking that men who were, let's actually get it. The Lord said he was going to, then shall that wicked be revealed. How was the wicked revealed? Through the spirit of his mouth. So it was through men that Esau in the world knows who Esau Edom is. It was through the prophets that are prophesying the doctrine of Yahawashi Yahawashi. And that pure doctrine comes from the elders of Great Millstone. And the men, whether they are in a Great Millstone or whether they're like myself in a camp that is speaking the same doctrine that was received by the elders of Great Millstone and passed down. So the thing is, in this scripture says right here, Ecclesiasticus chapter 11, verse 7, blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first and then rebuke. Because if you truly examined the truth of the matter, then you wouldn't make a statement and say that men are afraid of Esau and that's why they're putting E. Why would you even put a video out condemning Esau if you are truly afraid of Esau? You gotta really think about that. Why would you go out on the highways and byways and tell the devil, Esau, sleazy E, his condemnation, his wrath, his judgment, if you was afraid of him? You see, you gotta, before you blame, because that's what you're doing. You're saying men are changing up the doctrine, are adding to the scriptures. Well, adding to the scriptures would be adding to the scriptures, creating a new doctrine. Shortening or calling Esau E is not changing the doctrine. We didn't say that the nation of Esau is now called the nation of E. That would be changing a doctrine. But see, if you examine the truth of the matter, which I'm sure you have, I'm sure you did, that was just y'all, you or y'all, both of y'all, whatever, just being contentious. Because if you do have any type of knowledge or any type of understanding, you would know that changing the title does not change the content. Because we have to edify the sheep. Remember, we know who the ones who know who E is. We can say E to each other. Esau is, I should say. We can say E to each other all day, and we will be able to know who we're talking about. Okay? And the ones who have been watching us long enough will see a title, and the sheep will understand who we are referring to when we're saying E, when we say Jake. But let's say somebody comes across a video and just see that title. If they're a part of the elect, guess what? They're going to click on the video, and then they're going to get edified. They're going to get it's going to be clarified who Esau is. There's never been, I've never done it, a time where I did not say Esau in a video when I'm talking about Esau, the Edomites, the so-called white man. And I've never seen it. Never been a time where a title was saying E, and somebody in the comment board said, "Oh, who is E?" Now I've seen brothers ask who Jake is, because we actually say Jake sometimes in videos, also along with titles, and somebody would say, "Oh, who is Jake?" And then I would, or if another brother would answer the question directly, straight up. and say Jake is short for Jacob. We just say Jake sometimes to shorten it. So you got to understand and examine what the truth is, man. Just like how if you was watching the video of that snake and that mouse, you got to understand the truth. You got to examine the truth of that dynamic. You can't just say, oh, well, the snake is scared because he didn't strike it. Oh, the snake is scared because he let the mouse walk all over him. No, you got to understand first, examine the truth, understand it first, and then rebuke. And then ultimately, the Lord gave us liberty to do the things that we're doing because we got to do what is necessary in order to feed the sheep. Remember, this is not about us. Okay, it involves our salvation, but Yahawashi asked Peter 3 times, if you love me, feed my sheep. Now the sheep is going to know the food because they've been getting the same quality food for years. Whether it be you've been in the troop for 3 years, whether you've been feeding the sheep for 5 years, whether you've been feeding the sheep for 10 years, 15 years, 25, 30 plus, they're getting fed the same nutritious food. If you change the title of the food, shorten the title of the food, doesn't mean that it takes away from the quality and the content that the food has. Doesn't take away from the nutritious factor of that water, that living waters. That's what you got to understand and examine. But this is a scripture in the book of, where is it at? Galatians chapter 3, verse 5. It says, Salakia, 5 verse 13. That's what I meant. 5 verse 13. It says, I'll start at 12. Paul says, I would they were even cut off, which trouble you. Because this is really a spirit jumping on you to trouble brothers who put E on their titles, who say Maxine. And Paul said, I would it that they would be cut off, which trouble you. All right. It says, for brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion of the flesh, but by love serve one another. And we have liberty through Yahawashi to use this occasion to shorten the title of Esau. If you want to call him E, you can call him the man of sin. Paul did that. The son of perdition. Paul did that. Yahawashi called him the prince of this world. Were they scared for using those synonyms? In Revelation, it said that old serpent, that dragon, the devil, which is called Satan. Not one of those moments was it written Esau. But if you are wise, you know who is being talked about. If you have understanding, you know who is being referred to. Paul only used the word Esau once in all of his biblical writings, and that was to the Hebrews in the book of Hebrews, the 12th chapter. But Paul referred to the Edomites in plenty different books. But he didn't call them Edomites. He didn't call them Esau. He called them certain different other names. Was Paul adding to the scriptures? Was Paul afraid? Understand and examine the truth, man. It's another one. This is where is this one at? So bear with me 1 second. Yeah, Galatians, that's what it was. Galatians chapter 2, verse 4. It says, and that because of false brethren unawares brought in. Okay? And a brother can be a false brethren unawares brought in simply by just saying double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. You know? You can say that, but then here it is. Now what you're You're saying that to be brought in into the fold, okay, but not truly adhering to the doctrine that those elders and apostles have taught you. So brothers entreat you as a brother because you say, double honors, and that's why the scripture tells you that not every brother is a brother, man. And just because you have a title or just because you are in a particular group doesn't mean that you are a part of the elect. Also, we all got to give diligence to make our call and election sure. We say it over here all the time. There could be spies and agents amongst, our church, man. But that's why you have to examine yourself whether you be in the faith, and also you have to mark them that are in the truth, that are being brotherly, doing the things that are supposed to be doing unto the body, unto the building up and edification of the church, and also mark them which cause divisions. That's why men get kicked out of churches. But it says, and that because of false brethren brought in, who came in privily to spy out our liberty, which we have in Hamashiach Yahawashi, that they might bring us into bondage. And that's what you're doing, man. You say double honor, so you can just, nobody really looks at you. Okay, he's teaching, he out there, whatever. He got a beard on, garment out, says double honor. So nobody's really, paying attention. But then, you come out because the scriptures tells you that nothing hid, nothing, everything that is hid shall be revealed. And you come out to spy out our liberty, man, because which is in Yahawashi Mashiach. Yahawashi gave us the liberty to call this devil E if we wanted to say Maxine if we wanted to. We get our authority from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, man. But you want to bring us into bondage because you don't like it, because you don't want it, because you don't want to do it. Now you're trying to say, oh, everybody who does it is going off. Everybody who does it is afraid. So now you're trying to put a fear of a spirit of fear on a person, which can bring them into bondage. So now they're thinking, oh, if I say E, if I say Maxine, that means I'm afraid. Now you captivated their mind to that wayward thought, man. And ultimately, and as the scripture says, every let me get that real quick. It's that Matthew 12th chapter. Yeah, Matthew 12, verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment. That was an idle word. It didn't edify anybody, because people are actually still getting edified, even though the name of a vaccination is being called a maxination. It don't take a rocket scientist to understand what a person means when he says Maxine. Doesn't take a rocket scientist. Even Esau, they call it in their articles. They say, taking a jab, jabbing everybody. Oh, does that mean that the editors of the articles were scared? They're the ones that's working with the fucking system. But that's an idle word, because now you're casting a offense onto the laborers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, man. And if you are sincere, you don't want to have that weight or that judgment, waiting for you. Verse 37, for by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Okay? So once again, was Yahawashi scared because he called him the prince of this world? Paul called him the prince of the air. Okay? He also called him, like I said, the son of perdition. There's plenty of words that the men of the Lord use to describe the devil, man. We have that liberty. We have that authority, man. Our authority doesn't come from what you want. The authority comes from Yahawashi, man, which comes from Yahweh. Point blank and period. All right, so it's let's get another one. First, and I'm gonna close it out because the point is made, man. That the Lord gave us the liberty to do these things, man. The Lord said, Scripture says we're going to judge the world. You telling me that we can't call Esau Eve? We're gonna judge the world. First Peter chapter 2, verse 15. For so it is the will of the Most High that with well doing ye put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. And that is a foolish statement, man. But we're going to continue to do what is well doing. As long as the sheep is being edified, as long as people, the men, women, all right, and the children that are listening and learning are listening and learning and understanding and are growing in faith and in fear of Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi, that's all that matters, man. You can call, as they say in the word, you can call, just because you call shit sugar just because you, how they say, just because you call sugar doesn't mean that it's not shit. Well, the same thing on the right hand side. Just because you call Esau E doesn't mean he's not Esau. Okay? If you go to actually a prime example. I went to Rutgers University. They had this thing called the grease trucks. When I first got to Rutgers, or maybe even a year before I got there, because I live around there. At the grease trucks, they had they used to have a sandwich called Fat Bitch, and it was spelled BITCH. But after, there was blowback and people were saying things, about the fact that, it was offensive or X, Y, and Z, and this is on a carnal level, that they changed the name of the sandwich from Fat Bitch, BITCH, to Fat Beach, BEECH. Sounds the same, similar, but it wasn't actually bitch, it was beach. But guess what? The sandwich itself had the same ingredients. It was made the same way. And everybody knew that. Everybody knew that what was used to be called the Fat Bitch is now called the Fat Beach. And it was still the same food being served. And that is the facts of us using in our titles the word E or Maxine. Okay? It's still the same food, edification being served. And that is the truth. If you would have examined that, you wouldn't have blamed. You wouldn't have put out a simple-minded, foolish rebuke in your ignorance. So keep going. It says, as free, not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness. Yeah. But as servants of the Most High. And we don't use our liberty to say E for malicious reasons. We're doing it for the complete opposite reasons. It's for the love of the body, man. The love of the brotherhood and the love of the sheep that are being fed. This is why we use the liberty to shorten to say E, to say Jake, to say Maxine, so that we can still do the job that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi has given us. It's called a counterpunch. Okay, you go into a fight and you have a strategy, but a part of your strategy is counters. Because you're at a war, you got to realize that when you go into a fight, you're going to get hit. But if you see your enemy or your adversary throwing the same punch, and at first it's hitting you, you're not going to just keep doing the same thing. No, you're going to do a counter. You're going to make a counter move to that. Okay. If you throw in a hook, you put up your arm, dip it or whatever, and then throw another hook. And that's what we have done, man. And this devil, as of right now, he can't counter our counter. Okay, he cannot counter the counter that we did until his punch. Because his punch was taking down our videos because of our titles, because he uses algorithm. But we being wiser than this devil, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi, we have now countered that. So now this devil, understand, this devil is going to come with a counter. And if that counter ultimately leads to the famine of the word, then hey, call on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi. But if it doesn't, then we got to come up with a different counter. This is a war, man. War of words. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're spiritual through the mighty and mighty through the putting down of strongholds, man. And you calling yourself a teacher, you should know that. But what? You use your liberty, right, to come out and say what you got to say for a cloak of maliciousness, man. But we use it as a servants of the Most High to serve the sheep, man. Point blank, period. So, I ended there, Lord willing. This was edifying unto the elect. Okay. And also just a PSA, because in this video that the brother Manakazakba did, mark them which caused the visions, mountain of Amath 144, I believe, he had made a statement about the two witnesses, which is a brother that teaches up in Boston. He is not a part of the Men of Valor camp. Okay, he used to be a part of it a couple years ago, and for the reasons that we keep amongst our church, whatever, we parted ways. Because I'm not one to to spill the beans of everything that happens and all that. It's not necessary. Because I know Jake liked drama, but that's not necessary. But the fact is, that brother is not. There's no hard feelings or anything. It's just not. He's doing his own thing up there with the brothers he got in Boston. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that out. Because I was watching the video and the brother said that he was a part of our camp. But all in all, he isn't. Any brother that doesn't have Men of Valor on their channel, they're not a part of Men of Valor unless they're using their side channel. But we gave a decree that any brother that goes out and teach, that they're supposed to teach under, go out and camping under the title of Men of Valor. So just wanted to say that too. But with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bashem, Yahawashi, Bashem, Rakakwadash. Till next time, Shalom.